Hey everyone, welcome back to The Journey We Take. I'm Janelli, and today we are stepping into a conversation that comes up every year around this time, but in a way that honors everyone who listens, no matter where you are in the world or what you do or don't celebrate. Because the truth is, my relationship with Thanksgiving is complicated. I think there's the version of how many of us grew up with it, with the cartoon images and the paper hand turkeys that they made us do in as like crafts in school, and then there are the actual real histories, and those are painful ones, especially for indigenous communities. And I've over the years gotten more familiar with that perspective of things, and so I want to try to be mindful of that, and I want to respect that and just hold space for those who don't celebrate at all. But even with all that, there is that one part of this season I've always felt drawn to, and that's gratitude. Not gratitude as a one day event, not a performance around a dinner table, but gratitude as an actual practice in life, as a mindset that can actually just shift the way we see ourselves and each other, and ultimately just the whole world. So today we're talking about that type of gratitude that doesn't necessarily need a holiday, and the type that I feel like can change your life if you let it. And I know we're entering that time of the year where it almost feels like the world around us suddenly starts throwing the word thankful around like glitter. Um, you know, just this whole gratitude idea around it gets marketed to us as something simple and soft, like almost like a Pinterest quote or something. Just be thankful, make a gratitude list, think positive. But really, really, gratitude is work, and I think it's almost a skill. And so with that comes practice, and I wanted to look on the side of how sometimes gratitude can also be uncomfortable for us. It just asks us to slow down and to see things that we typically overlook and acknowledge the good even whenever life is a little messy or just uncertain. For me, I think gratitude isn't about pretending that everything is perfect. It's just about recognizing that even in those imperfect moments, there's something worth holding on to. And it could be something big like love or a second chance, healing, or something smaller like your little dog nudging your hand, or just a quiet moment in the morning to yourself, or, the sun, especially during the season, finally showing up after a long week of rain and gray weather. Gratitude doesn't erase the hard things in life, it just makes the load feel lighter. And it just asks us to be honest about what's here, not just what we wish was here. And it's asking us to choose to look at our lives with softer eyes. And that reminds us what's here again, instead of getting swallowed up by what's not. And we start to see the ordinary moments as ones that actually shape us the most. And that's true, they are. And it's not meant to silence pain or pretend that everything is okay. Gratitude isn't. It's just it's best when we are honest about what hurts and honest about what's still good, because those two things can exist together, and honestly they usually do. Sometimes gratitude does feel out of reach. Sometimes we're just super stressed out, we're tired, we're going through grief. Sometimes life feels like it's taking way more from us than it's giving. And if that's where you are right now, I just want you to know you're not doing anything wrong, and gratitude isn't supposed to be forced. But it can be something that we practice in the smallest ways. If you can't be grateful for the whole picture, try to be grateful for one little pixel, one moment, one breath, because sometimes it arrives late. Sometimes It just shows up in quiet ways. But acknowledging it has the power to shift something inside of us, even if it is just by one tiny degree. And if we do choose to look at our lives with softer eyes and just remind us of what's still here instead of getting swallowed up by what's not, we start to see these ordinary moments as the ones that are actually molding us and the most meaningful ones. And I think that is one of the best things I've learned, is that gratitude isn't something that we need to save for the big moments. It's something that we can weave into the in-between moments. And no, that doesn't mean toxic positivity. It's not about ignoring reality. It's just about acknowledging all of reality. So I think practicing by noticing the things that you would normally rush past and trying to say thank you to certain moments, even if you're the only one that hears it, if that makes sense. And just let gratitude slow you down long enough to actually recognize your life happening in real time. And then whenever you start to practice these little bits of gratitude consistently, you just start to see patterns, and you start to just see what truly matters, and you start to see yourself more clearly, I think. And ultimately, that clarity, that's where the real transformation begins. And I really wanted to talk about this time of year because, again, for so many people, it is a little weird. All these holiday seasons are joyful on the broad spectrum of things and you see it from the outside, but when you go into every individual's lives, sometimes it's not as jolly and cheerful as it may appear on the outside. So I know the season can feel lonely for some people, and maybe it's just heavy or triggering. It could be joyful, but it could be also overwhelming. Sometimes all those things at once. And I know that some people love being together, the togetherness of it all. And some people actually dread it. And some people wish they had it. And others are just healing from what they lost. I try to recognize all of that. And also recognizing that there is also a historical weight, especially for Indigenous communities, where this holiday does bring up stories that were never told and truths that were never honored, unfortunately. And I feel like that pain does still linger through generations. So I don't want to step into this week pretending it is all light and fluffy for everyone. I wanted to step in with awareness and just a simple respect for every story that surfaces this time of year. And that's where I feel like gratitude really becomes powerful, because gratitude isn't just a celebration of a holiday. I think it's more of a celebration of humanity. And I really think it's beautiful if we can all really see it that way, that it is a celebration of survival, of connection, resilience, and just those little joys that get us through. And that belongs to everyone. Something else that I simply love about gratitude is just how contagious it is. Whenever someone shows you kindness, you really feel it. And when you express appreciation, even for something small, it can change the energy in the entire room. When you tell someone, hey, I'm glad you're here, it matters, honestly, more than you know. So maybe this week, whether you are celebrating Thanksgiving or not, let this just be a week of presence, a week of acknowledging the people who truly support you, even in the smallest of ways, a week of letting other people know that they matter, And if you're listening to this right now, I wanted to let you know that you matter to me, and I am very grateful for you. I'm grateful for this little space that we've built together across the states, countries, and different cultures. And you all are a part of this journey, and I truly don't take that lightly. And I think, too, what's beautiful about gratitude in general is that it's both spiritual and scientific. From a research perspective, gratitude can reduce stress and help with anxiety, strengthen relationships, and it can even rewire the brain to notice more positive experiences. So that right there is life altering. So when we practice gratitude and we put that into play in our lives, we're ultimately building our own mental health and strengthening our own spiritual connection to ourselves and others, I think. But beyond all the scientific benefits, there is that, again, soul level part of gratitude that I think is even more meaningful. It's just a way to bring you back to yourself. It roots you and it keeps you from spiraling into those constant what ifs that like to pop up in our brains, or those should haves and fears about the future. It's helping us to slow down long enough to actually see our lives and not just survive them. It says, be here just for a moment and feel what's good. And you know what? Sometimes one moment of what's good is enough to just change the direction of a whole day. Let's be honest. Sometimes the idea of gratitude feels almost annoying. Like you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, and you're dealing with life, and someone says, "Oh, just be grateful." And you're like, "Okay, but can I just breathe first?" So I just want to validate that feeling also, because gratitude isn't always accessible. Not whenever you're feeling heartbroken or you're grieving, or when you feel like you're in survival mode and you think, life is just asking more of you than you can even feel like you can give. So I think that's whenever it's really healthy for us to recognize that gratitude can become gentle in a way that it doesn't necessarily demand a smile. It's not asking us to pretend or deny our truth. It's just saying, like, find one thing, just one, and recognize it, whether it's like a warm drink, a song that you love, a little simple moment of laughter, the way that the air felt on your skin, your little pet leaning into you for a little cuddle, a small little accomplishment. I don't know, whatever it is, the smallest thing, just take that and hold on to it, because gratitude in the hard seasons is about those tiny sparks, those glimmers that I've heard the word used before, it being, I don't know what the exact definition is, but glimmers. Maybe I should come back with that. Maybe I'll put it in the notes below. But yeah, it's about the tiny sparks, not the big fireworks. And those tiny sparks, those are what keep us going. Yeah, sometimes gratitude does feel like a seasonal trend, like I mentioned before in the beginning. Like from November to December, everyone's just so reflective and poetic and sentimental. And then January hits and we're like, oh yeah, new year, new me. But gratitude is not a trendy, it's not a trend, not a vibe. It's just like a slow way of reshaping the way that you see the world. And I think that's why we don't talk about gratitude year round, maybe. It's because that pretty version is so easy, but the real version requires true vulnerability. Just by recognizing what's supporting you, admitting what you've been taking for granted, and notice where you've grown. And yeah, sometimes it's not always light or Instagrammable, and it can be the only good thing in a heavy week. Or just acknowledging that even though you're not where you want to be, you're still here and you're still trying, and that's what counts. I think about many moments, just how many moments I've rushed through in the past, how many things I didn't see because I was too focused on what I lacked or what wasn't working. And as someone who has been through losses, different struggles and seasons of uncertainty, I've learned that gratitude often shows up as hindsight first. You just tend to look back and suddenly see, oh, like that moment mattered. And that experience taught me something, or that person was placed in my life at the perfect time. And I didn't realize it then, but I was growing. And then once you realize that, you start catching the gratitude in real time, not just when looking back. And that is when that shift, I feel like, comes about. So yeah, since we're in this season, I want to circle back to something important, just how gratitude can exist while holding space for truth. We can embrace thankfulness without romanticizing painful histories. We can appreciate our community without ignoring context. And we can care about tradition while honoring those who have been harmed by it. And I think that's what makes gratitude powerful. It's flexibility. It's allowing us room for complexities, and it doesn't demand any kind of perfection. It just lets us sit with what's real. So, wherever you come from, whatever your relationship is with this time of year, I just want you to know that your experience is very much welcomed here. And yeah, I'm grateful for you. So, before we close, I want to offer everyone who's listening just a simple way to practice gratitude. So, let's do it right now, where you just close your eyes, take a breath, and notice one thing in your mind, in your heart, just one, that makes your life a little more gentle, a little softer, or at least makes it feel a little more possible. And just hold it for a moment and let it settle. That right there is gratitude, guys. It's not a holiday. It's not a tradition. It's simply just that recognition of what you just notice, of what's real and what's here, and what you're grateful for. So feel how your body responds to that recognition. It's accessible if you allow it to be, and it's not about ignoring what's missing. Just again, rooting yourself in what's present and choosing that awareness over autopilot, and just, ultimately connection over comparison and presence over the distractions of the world. And yeah, if you let it, gratitude will become one of your greatest teachers. I'm learning from it every day, and I think that it definitely reminds us that our life isn't just the big moments, it's those little ones in between. And yeah, again, I'm grateful that you're here, growing with me and being able to reflect and walk this journey alongside. So yeah, I'm going to share more ways on the website, thejourneywetake.com, on ways to practice gratitude in everyday life that doesn't feel like homework. I think it's really important. And if that is a way that we can make our lives a little bit easier to walk through and not feel so heavy, I would love to share that with everyone who can benefit from that. So yeah, you'll find it on thejourneywetake.com whenever this episode goes live. Yeah, thank you for spending this time with me today. Again, whether your week feels festive, peaceful, lonely, joyful, whatever, anything in between any of those things, I just hope that you can find the small pockets of gratitude that remind you that you're alive and you're doing the best you can. So if this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it or send it to someone who might need a little reminder today, or just to listen and share a different perspective on things. And also, before I go, a little tiny bit on the merch updates. The Cosmic Collection went live a couple weeks ago, and if you've been loving that, get ready, because we are going to officially be landing with the Earthbound collection. That one's coming really soon, and I think it's like the perfect follow-up to the Cosmic Collection, from the stars down to where our feet meet the ground. That's what's coming to you guys soon. So yeah, it is that time of the year, so there will be Black Friday deals. So keep an eye out, stay tuned, and know that something new is on its way. And yeah, as always, may you walk your path with intention and an open heart, and enjoy this week with more gratitude within it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.